Don't forget the doc. Several network participants recently called into Dr. Rick Wright's Old School Sundays radio show. Check this out.
It's showtime. It is definitely showtime now with George Kilpatrick, king of all media. Hey, George, are you there, baby? Are you out there?
Yes, yo, Dr. Rick, how you doing? GK, check it in with your man.
Hey, George, indeed, you are the king of all media, man. I'm telling you, you are kicking, and I enjoyed being on your radio show this morning on News Radio 570 WSYR, man, and Thanksgiving. Hey, man, you had a superstar on air with you this morning, man, on New Inspirations for the Nation, Bishop T.D. Jakes, huh?
Bishop T.D. Jakes was on the phone, Dr. Rick, and it was truly a blessing. I really enjoyed having that conversation with him. You know, obviously he needs no introduction to our listeners, but the brother's got a new book out called A Christmas Novel, and we were talking about that. But he also went beyond the novel just to talk about everyday life, everyday situations, and to give us some hope and inspiration. So, yeah, that was a big one for me today. I was really blessed, and he was very humble and accommodating, and I really appreciated the fact that he just allowed himself to be humble in that conversation. He's truly great, and he showed that to our listeners this morning, and we're glad that we had the opportunity to bring that conversation to you.
Hey, you know, Noel Jones, Bishop Noel Jones is a big friend of Bishop T.D. Jakes, man.
That's right. In fact, when in 2003, he came along with Bishop Noel Jones. In fact, that's probably the only reason why we got T.D. Jakes to come during the apostolic citywide crusade.
Yes.
T.D. Jakes came, Tavis Smiley. We did a youth speak out there, and I was a part of that as well. It was a pretty incredible day. Packed the On Center, Dr. Rick, with a big program. You know, T.D. Jakes flew in on his jet, made it happen, and it was quite the day. So we're talking about somebody who has a 30,000 member church, who produces films, who writes books, does conferences. I mean, he's pretty well established, and he basically said the formula for living, he said, is not to die empty. That if you have something to say, if you have something to do, make sure that you allow that creativity to come out in some way. It could be even just in a word of encouragement to somebody else, but don't die empty. Don't die empty. Make sure that or die empty, that's what he said, so that all of your creativity comes out. Don't die full is basically what he said.
Let it out like you, the king of all media. Okay, George Kilpatrick. Oh, man, Bishop T.D. Jakes, the Potter House down in Texas, man. Dynamite here, man, in your programming efforts at Power 106.9 Radio. GK, the king of all media, the superstar of the Omega Sci-Fi fraternity. I saw you bring up the fact that Bishop T.D. Jakes didn't mention the Qs.
I was like, no, he was shouting out the alphas and the zetas and the deltas, But then he said his mom was a delta, man. His mom is a delta, and then he was talking about somebody else was an alpha and somebody else was a zeta.
But the sister.
I said, Mr. Jakes, what happened to the Qs, man?
Yeah, the sisters of the Omega Sci-Fi fraternity is Delta Sigma Theta. Well, George, the phones are blowing up here, man, on a Sunday afternoon at Power 106.9, man. Call me back later, man. I'm telling you.
Dr. Rick, and we'll talk about, I got some more good stuff coming up, but that's another story.
Okay, George Kilpatrick, the king of all media from New York City, man, Syracuse University alum, as we celebrate victory in the world-famous Carrier Dome. Yesterday as Syracuse knocked off Rutgers, and that basketball team was incredible in Madison Square Garden as they got rid of California and the University of North Carolina.
All right, so get to all the Syracuse University alums throughout the world. Checking out Dr. Rick Wright, Power 106.9 Old School Sunday. On a big bad Sunday afternoon, Dr. Rick Wright live and well in Syracuse here at Power 106.9 Radio. Do it.
The network reminds you that you too may call in to Dr. Rick Wright on Sundays between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check in with the doc at area code 315-428-1069. Don't forget the doc.